Now this is like comedy to me, right? Oh my God, what a decoy. That was a smart move from the Iranians.
The IDF posted footage claiming to have destroyed an Iranian military helicopter, only for it to turn out to be a decoy painted on the ground. They bombed the equivalent of sidewalk chalk and then lauded it as an accomplishment. This is the funniest thing in the world to me. They painted anamorphic images of F-14 fighter jets on the tarmac, optical illusions that look realistic from the air, and the supposed best militaries in the world fell for it. It's giving Looney Tunes behavior. Remember Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, and he'd run into these painted tunnels on the wall? That is the energy the US is giving right now. The real jets were safely stashed underground. They took absolutely no damage in this attack, but it cost the US and Israel millions of dollars. The cost of each of these missiles, likely around $5 million each. You know how much it cost them to paint these decoys on the tarmac? $5, $10, if that. Like, what a great return on investment. We're entering the meme stage of the war.
Iran was accused of drawing fake airplanes on concrete. The United States reportedly thought they were real and bombed the site. According to circulating reports, the US is said to have spent more than $5 million on the airstrike to destroy the target, but
That's probably AI.
What the fuck did you just say?
later, it was discovered that the aircraft were actually just images painted on the ground. Meanwhile, Iran's real planes had already been moved into shelters beforehand, avoiding the attack. It was a very simple military trick, but an effective one. When people think about it, it almost sounds unbelievable, and the incident reportedly became something the world laughed about regarding the US military. Military deception is nothing new. Armies have used fake tanks, inflatable vehicles, wooden aircraft, and painted decoys for decades to confuse enemy surveillance and protect real assets. If true, this would simply be a modern version of an old strategy, making the enemy waste expensive weapons on worthless targets. So the big question remains, did Iran actually fool advanced surveillance with nothing but paint and concrete? Or is this just another viral story spreading online without solid evidence? For now, the truth remains unclear, but one thing is certain. In modern warfare, deception can be just as powerful as missiles.
Breaking news in Iran. As reported by Marwa Osman, a short while ago, Iranian deception tactics reportedly made the Zionist and American militaries look bad on the global stage. It started when the Israeli terrorist army and US-aligned media proudly released footage claiming a successful strike inside Iran. One clip showed what was presented as a precision thermal strike on an Iranian fighter jets. The video was circulated as proof of high-tech accuracy, but journalists and independent analysts took the footage apart frame by frame and uncovered a serious technological embarrassment. When they compared two thermal images, one taken just before the strike and another exactly 1 second after, the so-called fighter jet hadn't moved at all. No displacement, no blast effect, nothing you'd expect from a real explosion. So what happened? It turns out there is no real fighter jet. The target was reportedly a sophisticated visual decoy, a 3D ground rendering designed to fool area surveillance and AI-based targeting systems used by US and Israeli drones. They mistook a cheap decoy for a real aircraft and fired a missile costing over $1 million. This story is now circulating in US and Israeli media, with critics citing it as evidence of poor planning and blind alignment between the Trump administration and Benjamin Netanyahu, portraying Donald Trump as reactive rather than strategic. Makes you wonder how many other targets were never real. Good question, Marwa, and thank you for this update.
The jokes write themselves at this point. Tell me why the Iranian military drew 3D paintings of warplanes and helicopters on top of their buildings and other surfaces, because they knew that the American and Israeli military was going to be stupid enough to waste $1 million bombs on paintings. Magnificent!
America fired a $4 million missile to shoot down a $20,000 drone. That interceptor missile that America fired is going to take years to replace. Iran has thousands more drones, and they can make 500 per day. You do the math. because this is the most important number in this entire war that no one is talking about. Iran's Shahid drone cost from $20,000 to $35,000 to build. It's a one-way suicide drone built off the back of a truck with off-the-shelf parts. Literally a flying bomb. It's simple, it's cheap, and it's replaceable. The missile America shoots to fire it down is called the Patriot PAC-3 Interceptor, and it costs $4 million. Every single one costs $4 million. So if you do the math, that is a 114 to 1 cost disadvantage to the U.S. And I don't think y'all are understanding because the U.S. is already going to lose this war. Those Interceptor Patriot PAC-3 interceptor missiles, yeah, U.S. can make 600 per year. Thousands have already been fired. And analysts are saying that Qatar's Patriot supply can run dry in days. And the U.S. is stonewalling Gulf states asking to restock, but there are not enough to go around. One defense analyst put it quite perfectly, saying that it's like using Ferraris to intercept e-bikes. And Iran has warehouses of e-bikes and can continue to make 500 e-bikes a day. And let's be very real, Iran doesn't even need to win a single airstrike to win this war. All they need is control over the global economy, and baby, they've already done that. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow waterway, 21 miles wide, and roughly 20% of the world's oil supply runs through there every single day. Not just Middle Eastern oil, baby, the world's oil. Let me help you understand. 1 in 5 barrels of the world's oil on this planet move through the Strait of Hormuz. And no alternate routes exist for Gulf energy exports. And Iran didn't even have to block it. All they had to do was send a few drones to the strait, and immediately insurance companies stopped covering any ships that tried to pass it. No insurance, no transit. Just like that. The world's most critical energy choke point literally brought to near zero traffic. Just like that. And baby, we're already seeing the effects. The oil has shot up 25% in prices over the last few days. Shipping rates for oil tankers have hit an all-time record high, 95% up in just a weekend. And major shipping giants have canceled operations. Analysts are warning that if the strait stays closed, oil barrel prices will get to $120 per barrel. And baby, that tips the entire global economy into a recession. Now, Humpty Trumpty is saying he wants to use naval escorts to get the ships through. But analysts are already asking, and other people are asking, does America have enough naval tanks to do that? And keep fighting the war in Iran at the same damn time? The answer right now appears to be no. So it's looking like the only way that the USA and Israel could win this war is with a ground invasion. And baby, a ground invasion is a goddamn fantasy. Have y'all seen Iran? Iran is not Iraq. It's not Syria. It is a land of mountains. And these mountain ranges cover the entire northern and western regions, with elevations of over 10,000 feet and very narrow passages. Natural-made choke points that would swallow armies whole. The United States has never successfully occupied a mountain country, a mountain land nation in its entire history, its entire modern military history. Has not happened. Not Vietnam, not Afghanistan, never. And guess what? Iran didn't just rely on its natural mountain ranges to be part of this military war plan. No, baby, they built inside those mountains. Because inside of those mountains are missile cities. Yes, missile bases carved up to 500 meters deep into those mountains. Dozens of entrances to those bases spread hundreds of meters apart. That means destroying one entrance does not destroy the base. We could unveil a new missile city every week for the next 2 years. So a ground force entering that terrain faces Iranian military that will disappear into these tunnels, right? Submerge themselves, disappear, and then re-emerge somewhere else. Iran has interior supply lines, reverse units, logistical depth that no other army, no foreign army can match on foreign soil in that type of terrain. The U.S. has conducted nearly 2,000 strikes on Iran in the name of Israel just since this war started. And as of this week, the IAEA has confirmed that none of Iran's nuclear installations have been destroyed, or even hit, for that matter. So before you let the news convince you that this is going well, please understand the math is not mathing. The real math does not lie. This is a war that was lost before it was started.
Today we're looking at a heated claim circulating online. Did Donald Trump and his political allies fall into a strategic trap set by Iran? Hmm. In international politics, strategy and messaging can be just as powerful as military force. Governments often use diplomacy, public statements, and calculated moves to influence how their rivals react, which is similar to what the Iranians just did, creating a decoy. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. During the years of tension between the United States and Iran, the situation escalated several times. Sanctions, military threats, cyber conflicts, and political pressure all played a role. Supporters of Trump's policies argue that this administration's maximum pressure strategy forced Iran into a weaker position. But critics say some of the confrontations may have played directly into Iran's hands by increasing global tension and reshaping alliances across the region. Moments like these show how complicated geopolitics can be. Sometimes a move meant to show strength can trigger unexpected reactions from rivals who have been planning their strategies for years. So, the big question many analysts ask is this: in high stakes international politics, who is really controlling the chessboard? Hmm, Missiles going down. If you're just coming across our page for the first time, this is Global Info TV, where we say it as it is, we comment respectfully, and everyone is welcome to be part of this community. Original credit to creators whose video has been used for this illustration and example. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in my next video.